because I heard about these 4 cannibals that they applied for a job at a giant, huge corporation. So they went for an interview, and the manager who was interviewing them was really impressed. I said, you know what? I'm super impressed about your qualification. I would like to hire you, but you have to promise me that you're not going to eat any of the stuff here. And the 4 cannibals says, yeah, we promise. 1 year goes by. And then one day, the boss called the 4 of them and said, look, we are missing an office cleaner. And I want reassurance that it wasn't any of you. And they say, promise you, wasn't any of us. Okay, the boss leaves. Then the leader of the cannibals look at the other 3 and say, okay, come on. Which one of you was responsible for that? One of them, very embarrassed, say, it was me. The leader say, you fool. Said, for a whole year, we got away eating manager, project leaders, HR people, and you can't eat the only one that they are going to miss. Let's see if you can get that one. Anyway, I want to talk to you today about hard work and success. Hard work and success. This week's Parsha, yes, start with the requirement or the commandment of people to donate things for the Mishkan, for the first sanctuary. By the way, the Mishkan, every time we use the word Mishkan, was a portable temple that they had in the desert, okay? And it would go with them wherever they went. And it's interesting because the idea for that Mishkan, it wasn't to be anything permanent. It's going to be something that they have to have for a little bit of time until they make it into the promised land, into the land of Israel. And then eventually they will have to build a temple there. You know, there is a famous prayer, or it became a popular song, that is Sheibane Beit HaMikdash. Have you ever heard that one? When Sheibane Beit HaMikdash, we sing, let the Beit HaMikdash, the holy temple, be rebuilt. We never talk about the Mishkan again, okay? It was just for that generation. But it's interesting how many details we read and how many requirements this had for something that it was meant to be temporary. In fact, we start this week talking about the elements and the materials, and we talk about the menorah, but it was going to continue for weeks and weeks, all the details and everything they had to do. And the rabbi said that it took forever for them to figure out how to do it, how to build it. It wasn't an easy task, okay? So the rabbis actually are puzzled. So why do we need so many details and so many things and so many elements for something that is meant to be temporary? And the rabbis answer, because the concept of the Mishkan represents also our lives. We are also here on a temporary basis. This is not our final world. Eventually, we're going to go to the world to come, to the Olam Haba. That's the final destination. But that's why the Mishkan represents us. We also need to spend a lot of time and a lot of energy building ourselves up, the same way that we had to do it with the Mishkan. In fact, even the materials, even the elements that they needed to be donated for the Mishkan, each one of them, according to the rabbis, represents a part of the human body. For example, at the beginning of the Parsha, we'll say, you have to donate gold, silver, copper, blue, purple, what else was there? Wood, etc. And said, gold is our soul, right? Silver is our, what part of the body was? It's a different part of the body. Silver. Copper is our voice. Then it says blue, it's our veins. Purple, our flesh. Wood, our bones, and so forth. Because the Mishkan represents our life. And I realize that sometimes we need to work hard to build, and perfect our lives. And sometimes it's not easy. But the fact that it's not easy doesn't mean that we should avoid it. There is a beautiful midrash that says when God gave Moses the instructions to build the menorah, Moses was lost. In fact, said he tried to build the menorah and he failed multiple times, to the point that God has to reveal, almost like prophetically, the final work, right? The finished model, so Moses could see it, and Moses said, okay, now I understand what I have to do. It took forever for Moses to understand how to build the menorah. But then, something interesting happens. If you go to the book of Chronicles, in the Bible, it said that King Solomon, by the time that they have to build the permanent temple, in a fraction of the time, he made 10 menorahs, the way it's mentioned in the Bible. So for Moses took forever. Solomon did 10 of the same thing in a fraction of the time. So how is that possible? Well, because we know that all beginnings are more difficult. Everything that you will start is going to be difficult at the beginning. But if you dare to begin, if you dare to start, you're going to realize how, as time goes by, it's going to become easier and easier and easier. To the point that something that took you forever at one point, now you're going to be able to do 10 of those in a fraction of a time. And when I was reflecting on this principle, I was trying to remember things that they were difficult to me at the beginning, and now it's not difficult at all anymore, because I dared to begin. I took the challenge to start. One of the things that I remember is, for example, when I started to play piano, I was ready to quit at the beginning. But now I don't even think about that, just go and do it. Or when I prepared my first bar mitzvah, oh boy, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And it took me forever to figure out what to do, where to start. How do you teach trope in a way that a kid will understand? It was a trial and error. But eventually, I would say, I learned how to do it. Same happened with the Bnei Bnot Mitzvah. When they start the lessons, I don't know about you, Leslie or Tali, what happened the first class? They said, no, impossible. I cannot do it. Call my parents, I quit. I don't want to have the ceremony. This is too difficult for me. Then sometimes I like to record them and to play that recording when they finish the beautiful reading on the bima, that they can do it like so smoothly, right? Even though at the beginning they said it was impossible. And then something happened because they study for months and months and months. And eventually, sometimes one of these kids, we invite them over to come and learn the new piece and read more Torah. And something that took them 8-9 months at the beginning, they put it together in 2 weeks. How is that possible? Because every beginning is difficult, but eventually it gets easier and easier if you dare to take the challenge. So we want to improve in so many areas. We want to improve in our relationships, in our wisdom, in our health, in our habits. And it's hard. It's hard. But what this Parsha is reminding us is what we have to do is to take that very difficult first step. And if you do that, if you dare to take the first step, and if you put the hard work that it takes, eventually it gets smoother and smoother, easier and easier. The first menorah was very hard. At the time of the temple, 10 menorahs were very easy to do. And that reminds us that there is only one place where success comes before work. That is in the dictionary. Everywhere else, we need to work hard, and then we are going to see success. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.